So if you're anything like me, the price of something actually matters, whether it's 5,000, 1,000, 250, 500, whatever. So chances are when you go to looking for a new gun that you want to buy, you'll watch 100 videos like I do, and inevitably you're going to come across the ever recurring theme of for the price, for the price, for the price it's good, for the price it's bad, for the price it's not so bad. And after shooting some dissimilar in price guns the other night, but similar in, you know, quality, fun, shootability, it got me thinking, what does that really mean, for the price? For the price, does it make it less of a gun if it costs less but is just as good? Does it make it less of a gun if it costs more but it's not as good? Which made me want to do some sort of compare to price to quality, fun, you know, overall shooting experience. Stick around for a couple minutes. I will show you what I'm talking about and explain more what I'm talking about.
Scars. I'll brush you off just like the dust upon my shoulder. I have a hunch of who you are. Believe it or not, I got the strength to blow you over.
Okay, so I got sort of in a mental conundrum. The other night I was kind of bored, so I just opened up one of the safes, grabbed 2 pistols, and came down to my little pistol range that I've got down here. One of the guns that I grabbed was one that I've showed before, is the Canik Mete.
Don't try and church it up, son.
SFX. It's got the full 5.2 inch barrel on it, big grip, 18-20 round mag. I've added the Holosun 407 to it. I've added the TLR because I add those shit to everything. And then I grabbed this. This is one that I picked up here pretty recently. Shot it a couple times. This is the Shadow Systems MR920L. They're comparable. It's kind of like a Glock 17 upper with a Glock 19 grip. This is a Glock clone, which means somebody took what they believe they could do better, which I gotta say it is better than Glock, but it's also 2.5 times the price of Glock too. One of the things I remember seeing when I had the Meta, or when I was thinking about getting the Meta, was 2 things. One, all the gun tubers, when they first came out, we got them for free. Canik just sent them to them. Had optics, big packages that you can't even get them. And how great they were. And you got to take that, to me, you got to take that with a grain of salt, because free is hard to fight against. I mean, even a high point being free, it's kind of hard to dislike something. But then they came around. More and more people started getting them. But one of the common themes I kept hearing over and over again was, for the money, for the money, for the money, it's a good gun. For the money, it's a good gun. Now, when I was looking up the Shadow Systems, it was the same. Great gun. People love them. They're better than Glocks. They fix some of the problems that Glocks have. But one thing I don't ever remember hearing on anybody's channel when it comes to the Shadow Systems was, for the money, it's a good gun. Why? Because it's $1,200. So for $1,200, you expect a damn good gun. Well, one of the problems I was having the other night when I was shooting was I kept grabbing the Canik to shoot. This thing is over half the price of that Shadow Systems. So why did I keep grabbing this? For one, I don't have to reload as much. 2, I like the grip a little bit better. But one of the things I just kept thinking was, for the money, is this a good gun? For the money, is this a great gun? Comparable to a more high-end gun. Now, I know this isn't this, you know, one of the $5,000 2011s. But what I wanted to do some comparison on was, should you even spend the $1,200 for the gun? Or should you just get a $500 gun, throw some more money on top of it, and just be absolutely in love with it? Because I don't know about you, $1,200 is a lot of money to me. $500 is a lot of money to me. What in the world? Did you hear that horse fly? Fucking thing had a wallet chain. Jesus. So it's hard for me to compare because I paid for them both out of my pocket. So it's going to be hard for me to tell you that the $1,200 Shadow System it's going to be hard for me not to say that the Shadow Systems isn't a better gun, because it cost me $1,200. Plus you add, I mean, one of these freaking lights cost $200. What are these costing? $400. So all in all, you know, you're looking at, you know, $1,900, $100 for the comp, everything else. So you're bumping to $2,000 for a pistol. When this thing here isn't even bumping $1,000 really. So I decided I'm going to get my son to come out and shoot with me. He's pretty decent with pistol. Not as good as I am, but he's pretty decent. But one thing he's got going for him is he didn't pay a dime for any of them. So we're going to see. Get the shot timer out, get a couple more pistols, do a couple more comparisons with other guns that are kind of in the range. I don't want to hear a bunch of crap that those aren't comparable guns because they're not the same. Yeah, I don't have any of the exact same guns. I think that would kind of defeat the purpose of owning multiple guns if you just owned 5 of the exact same guns. But I'm going to try to find some that are comparable to each other. We'll see which one for the money is really worth it. Okay, so like I said, this is my son. This is Xander. He's pretty decent with a pistol, not as good as me. But so I got 4 guns to compare. This is the Sig Sauer P320 X5 9mm. The recently discussed Shadow Systems MR920L. Also previously discussed the Canik Mete SFX, and then another one I added was the Canik TP Elite Combat. So he's going to shoot each one of them, and without ever paying a dime for any of them, he's going to decide which ones he thinks are the best, and then I can kind of go from there. Is without further ado, my son Xander. Listen for the ding, because there won't be a bunch of them.
I'm shooting the Sig Sauer P320. This is Canik Mete. Then the Canik TP9.
So we'll start with the least best first. Why you liked it, disliked it.
So my least favorite is the Sig Sauer P320, and I didn't like it just because it felt really mushy and not, I guess, heavy in like the slide area. It's still a good gun to shoot. I just don't like it out of these 4. This one, the Shadow System MR920L. I like it, but it's about the kind of the same as the other one. It's just really heavy along the like slide area and kind of mushy feeling for me. This one, I'd say these two, the Canik TP9 and the Canik Mete, are about the same for me. I both like them about the same. I like this one just a little bit better because it's a little bit longer and it fits my hands a little bit better. But these are about the same, and the triggers both feel good. They're not really mushy when it comes to the slide. It's a lot snappier and faster feeling, and that's why I like it a little bit better.
Okay, so which one do you think should cost the most?
Just off the feeling, probably the Canik Mete.
Okay, which one do you think should cost the least?
Probably the Sig Sauer.
Just off the feeling of them?
Mm-hmm.
Which one has the best triggers?
The Canik TP9. I just like the way the reset on it feels.
Yeah, so the TP9 has the best reset out of all the triggers?
Mm-hmm. And in my opinion it does. Is that everything?
Yeah. I think we're done here. So there you have it. There was his decision. Number 1 was the Canik Mete. 2 was the Canik TP 9 Elite Combat. Number 3 was the Shadow Systems MR920, and then the Sig Sauer X5. I'd probably agree. I think I would move the TP and the Shadow Systems around. I do like shooting the Shadow Systems a little bit better just because I like a longer frame gun when I'm shooting around. But trigger-wise, the TP9 Elite Combat has got the better trigger out of all of them. And trigger-wise, the most expensive one has probably got one of the worst triggers on it. I know I'm going to catch a lot of crap for saying that because the Glock fanboys love these clones, which I'm not sure how you can be such a fan of a Glock, but then love someone who is pulling market value away from them by basically stealing every idea that they had. It's odd to me. Oh man, I get so much crap for this one from the YouTube gun freaks. So this all started to work when a guy, he has one firearm and it's an SCCY, which I've never shot one. I don't know anything about it, but from what I gather, they're complete turds, but they're cheap. And he wants to spend some money and buy a little bit nicer firearm. So he's asking another guy, and the guy said, you know, buy Canik. And they asked him, you know, is it a good gun? And the guy responds back, you know, for the price, it's a pretty decent gun. So later on, he's asking me, hey, you know anything about Caniks? And I said, yeah, I've got a few of them. And he says, yeah, so-and-so says for the price, it's a pretty decent gun. And I said, man, I hate it when people say that, because for the price, the Canik Mete is a great gun. And my son just proved that, because he'd pick it over the $1,200 gun. So when we tell people that, for the price, they get timid when they hear for the price, it's a good gun. They think to themselves, maybe I should save up, maybe I should get $800 together, maybe I should get $1,000 together and buy a $1,000 gun, because nobody ever says for the price for the $1,000 gun. Nobody ever says for the price the Staccato is a good gun, because let's be honest, is most guns, once you get over that $700 range, for the price, are not worth the money that you're paying for them. So my opinion is stop saying for the money. It's either a good gun or it's not. Price shouldn't be a weight. It should be graded on a curve because of what the price is. Because my recommendation to almost everybody is buy a gun along the same as a Canik. You know, maybe a Glock, a Canik, you know, a Sig. Buy that $550, $650 gun instead of the $1,200 Shadow Systems. And take that extra $600 that you have and put you an optic on it, put you a cool light on it, buy you some more magazines, buy you a holster, and the most important is go buy a shit ton of ammo and shoot it. You will get more out of a $600 gun with 1,000 rounds of ammo than you will out of a $1,200 gun with a 50 round box. I promise you. So that's my opinion. You know, it's a free country for a little bit longer.